Testing 1, 2, 3. 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 All right, I've got one person. All right, we've got a few people back on. Okay, yep. I know the sound's working. I could see the levels. So it must have been a little glitch on the YouTube side. So anyway, couple. All right. We're going to wait a few minutes to get everyone back in. Sorry about that, folks. It's technology, you know. It's just what it is. So we're just going to just wait a few minutes while everyone goes over to the other side. Okay. All right. So here we go. Everyone is funneling back in. You guys are quick. I love that. That's great. So anyway, I appreciate it. There we go. We're getting right back up there. The amount of people we had, almost hitting 100. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your patience. And by the way, Jupiter in Gemini with Pluto in Aquarius, we could expect a lot more of this from all of our technology. Been following me, you know I've been talking about how electrical issues, internet issues, all kinds of silliness is going to start to occur. And so this is not surprising today with the kind of energy that we have, especially when we still have the double conjunction that's in effect. Okay, for those of you that have been following me, the double conjunction is the Sun and Jupiter are in Taurus, and Uranus and Venus are still in Taurus. And so they actually happened exactly yesterday, but today they're still basically they're still active because the energy, because these are outer planets, they move very slowly. So the Sun and Venus are the only two that have actually moved 1 degree, but everything else is still there. And Uranus is the guy, example by Joe. Dominique, no need to go live. I'm just reading some of the notes, guys. Everything by example. All right, so here we go. All right, we're gonna start this in about 1 minute, okay? But I see everyone back in there. Thank you so much. And so the astrology is indicating high vibration, disruptive energy. Okay, so keep that in mind when your own personal life things start acting weird. Phones, internet, all of this stuff is on the table, especially like I said, when Jupiter will be making alignments to Saturn in August. August is a big month, and I'll talk about that as well because Jupiter will be in Gemini. So we're just giving everyone a minute, and then I'm gonna start with this alignment. Okay, hold on 1 second here. I've got the light shining through my windshield, hitting me right dead on. This is like one of those weird days. So hang on 1 second, folks. Here we go. I'm back. Now remember, I was born under the sign of Taurus, and I do have a lot of strong Aquarius energy in my chart. So it's not surprising to me one bit that all this stuff is happening today, and then we have the full moon coming in a couple of days. So this just amps up the level of energy. If you start thinking in terms of energy, you will begin to understand your life and how you do things and how things work. And so this doesn't surprise me one bit. It's just, it is what it is. And we're just going to have to get used to dealing with anomalies and strangeness. Anything about doing things normally is going out the window. So get ready for all this. Okay. So we've got a few seconds and I'm going to start live. All right. So here we go. All right. So thank you for everyone being here. This topic is going to be about Jupiter in Gemini. And this is going to be very important because Jupiter tends to expand everything. It makes things larger. It brings a different perspective. There's a yearning to learn. There's a yearning to travel. There's a yearning to want to know how things work on a very deep level. Now, that's all great and good. But here's the problem. Jupiter in Gemini is not exactly the greatest alignment. Okay, so you think that it would be beneficial, but here's the problem. Gemini energy is very scattered. Gemini loves to just, go from one next to the next, multitask, and basically scatter its energy all over the place. Jupiter, even though could probably keep up with that, Jupiter likes to know what the long game is going to be, what the end goal is. They want to see something that is meaningful and deep and profound, and Gemini is like a butterfly, wants to fly around and just go from here to there to there to there and juggle everything all at once. So Jupiter going through Gemini could be a little tricky. It's actually not in a good placement. Jupiter's not in a good placement because here you have one sign that wants to expand, and then you have another sign that just likes to flitter around and doesn't want to, focus in or try and understand the bigger picture. And so Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring a lot of staticky energy, a lot of instability. From time to time, it'll feel like we are overloaded. And matter of fact, I'm going to let you folks in on a little tip. I'm working on the next new moon video. Matter of fact, I have another video coming out on Monday, so check that out. It's about the solar solar flash update, and I did get a vision, which I'm going to share in that in that video. It was very clear and it was very profound, and and it came from my father who passed away many years ago. And he showed me something that was coming this fall. So I'm going to share that with you guys in the video. So look for that video to come out on Monday on YouTube, and I'll post it all over social media. But it's about the solar flash. It's an update on the solar flash. But then the next video will probably be the new moon outlook video because we have a new moon coming in on June the 6th. And so in that new moon, I'm basically calling it the new moon of mental overload. Now, why is that? Because we're in Gemini season, and now these planets are starting to go into Gemini, and we also have Jupiter in Gemini. So when you have too much of one sign, it takes over that energy. And so what I'm suggesting is that in the next couple of weeks, throughout the month of June, our brain is going to be overloaded with so much information coming in that at times it might feel like we're losing our marbles. So this is one of the downsides to Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter wants to expand, and Gemini is curious about everything. So we might find ourselves just like scattering the internet on our phones even more. The brain, the brain waves are moving really fast. A lot more trouble sleeping because there's so much mental activity. It's hard to go to sleep. Not to mention all these solar flares, which I'm sure will increase as well, because we're entering into that zone, as I suggested. It's going to really be August through through April of 2025. So with Jupiter in Gemini, it's going to amp up everything mentally. So you've got to counter that in some way, and the best way to do that is physical activity, because when you've moved the body, think of it in terms of moving energy. Now, this energy from Jupiter and Gemini is all going to go right up here, right into the brain area. So the rest of the body's like, hey, what are we doing here? You're slowing us down. We're sitting in front of a computer a lot longer. You're not moving me around. And so the brain will start, will start taking over, and your body will start feeling more either tired, you'll feel more achy, you'll feel more unease, because if you haven't noticed, time seems to be accelerating. Our perception of time seems to be accelerating. I know I am. I get up at 7:30 in the morning. Next thing I know, it's 7:30 at night. And I'm like, where the hell did these 12 hours just go? You see? So it's our perception is changing, and Jupiter and Gemini will accelerate the time. It will accelerate the perception of our time. Well, fortunately, here we're going to switch seasons in the northern hemisphere. We'll be going into the summer, which means that the sun will be staying up higher in the sky, and we'll have longer days, which is nice. It'll feel like we have another hour or two. But Jupiter in Gemini is all about communication. This sign loves to express itself. So there's going to be an incredible need, not just mentally, but to want to converse, to want to write, to want to share ideas, to want to just tap into something, beyond the physical world. And so premonitions will be very big under Jupiter in Gemini, because Jupiter is a visionary. Gemini is a visionary as well, too, but they're short-term visionaries, where Jupiter tends to be long-term visionary, like seeing something a year down the road. So during this time, you might want to consider tuning into something, and realizing what's happening. I'm looking at some of my notes here that I took, and, just look at the best way to do it is to look at the last time Jupiter was in Gemini. And I'm going to give you some dates here. So the last time we had Jupiter in Gemini was June 11th, 2012 through June 25th, 2013. Think about what was going on back then. And I could tell you right now, the internet was beginning to explode even more, and then prior to that, it was June 2000 to July 2001. Now, Jupiter in Gemini is only going to stay in this sign for a year, okay? Because Jupiter's transit around the zodiac is 12 years. So every 12 years, we repeat this pattern. But it's really the outer planets like Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and even Pluto, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, making a connection to Jupiter in Gemini. These are the planets that hold the stability of the energy. In other words, they're the symbol that seems to indicate the energy, how it's flowing on a slower pace. And Jupiter seems to be sort of a trigger every year or so. And it's usually every 3.5 to 4 months, it triggers a certain point with the outer planets, which again amps up the energy. So one of these alignments is going to be on June the 2nd. This June the 2nd, Jupiter in Gemini will trine, which is favorable, 120 degrees, to Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree or 2 degrees. I think it was 1 or 2 degrees. But it's a favorable alignment. So as we begin the month of June, there's this favorable alignment that comes in that says, okay, things look good. Everything's moving along. All right, how can we do this? The need to socialize, absolutely. The need to express ourselves, absolutely. And all I'm suggesting is, because I am a truth seeker, as you know, my private community there, which is blowing up. Thank you so much for all of you that have joined. By the way, there's a link down below if you want to check it out, and I highly encourage it. It is incredible. We're going up so fast because you folks are curious about what's going on, and thank you so much. So basically, it's about expressing the ideas of what's really going on. And I suggest to people that don't pay attention to the news, because that is meant to distract the public, the general public, to keep them at odds with each other, to give them false information. And there's something new that's occurring that is a little disturbing. And within the truther community, I'm seeing truthers conflicting messages and information. I'll give you an example. I've posted all about these solar flares. Now, this is pure science, okay? It's very simple science saying that there's a sun, an orange star there. We could kind of measure it. We could feel the heat. We know that it's rotating around. And there are people in the truther community that are saying that that sun is not real, that it is not real. It's all a hologram, or it is a firmament, and even the earth, the flat earthers and all that. Now, I'm not going to offend anyone. I mean, I'm not going to attack anyone, because you believe what you want to believe. It's your reality, okay? But I'm talking about basic physics, something that is shining light on us, that we could feel the intense heat. Whether it's real or not, this thing is affecting us, okay? But we have people in the truther community that want to go off the deep end and say that it's not real, that it's not what's real and what's not real. So fortunately, in my private community, which is school.com/truth seeker, again, the link is down below, which is going to be down below in, when I'm done with this video, because I had to rush this. I had to remove the description. So, but, I'm going to basically take care of that. But let me see here. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to multitask. So I will provide the link down below, but just remember school.com/truth seeker. I will include that link down below. Fortunately, many of you do follow me, and some of you have already joined the community. But my point being is, in the private community, I have so many people there that have opinions, and I love it. That's great. More opinions, the better. You get a different view, a different view of what's coming and everything. But most of the people kind of understand what's real, what's not real. I do have some people that are very scientific, like PhDs, that are, chiming in on the private community, which is fantastic. Again, like I said, I'm open to new information. Give me the new information. When it comes in, I am all about that. But we're seeing the conflict. So when I'm talking about social media, when I'm talking about the news, when I'm talking about politics, especially this year, as Jupiter in Gemini continues to ramp up information, it's going to be more and more. We're going to be overloaded by this information. And we're going to get a lot of confusion. And so this is why it's important to stay away from news and conflicting belief systems, at least until the dust settles. Okay. And so as we go into June, more information is coming our way. The need to basically want to converse. And again, I'm suggesting be around people that kind of understand the bigger picture. And the bigger picture to me has always been, remember who you are. What you're seeing on the screen right now is an avatar of who I am. Just like you, when you look in the mirror, it's an avatar. And so what is powering this suit? That's what you have to ask. Because once you start asking those questions, you're on a deeper level of consciousness, and your own higher consciousness or source, whatever we're connected to, will start feeding you the answers. So if you really want to know, and you're going to be really curious with the Jupiter in Gemini, ask the bigger questions. Who am I? What is powering this suit? What am I connected to? How am I, involved in this matrix? And there is a matrix. There absolutely is some sort of matrix that is very powerful. And so this is going to be very interesting how this all unfolds. Information continues to unfold. And so there's going to be conflicting beliefs. I'm sorry, it's just the way it works. And from my research, we are absolutely living in some sort of multidimensional, controlled system that is beyond time and space. Let me repeat that. We are living in some sort of simulation, controlled system that is beyond time and space. And that means that these bodies, everything that we see, is being held in place by some sort of energy, some form of matter that's being manipulated. Okay? So when people want to say there's a flat earth or there's no sun, you're on the right track, okay? Because you could see that there's something not right there. It seems to be one-dimensional, two-dimensional, but it's beyond that. And it has to do with frequencies. It has to do with energy holding everything in place. Just like this body is being held in place by the forces of nature and gravity, the same holds true for the Earth and the planets. Something so intelligent that maybe beyond our comprehension. I'm going to just lay it on the line here, because under Jupiter and Gemini, the hunger for knowledge will continue to go up. And we're going to see this. And this is why I'm sharing this information, and that we are heading into technology. Yes. AI. Yes. That's going to continue to go up. I mean, just do a Google search now, and the first thing that comes up is the AI. It gives you the suggestion. And I got news for you. Some of it's wrong. When I do a search for some astrology and the AI comes up, I noticed it's wrong. So whoever's programming this AI is not doing a very good job of it. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. So it's going to be about, what's real and what's not real, folks. And the only way you could tell is not by using this, it's by using this over here. This is the heart and the center part of the body. And what I mean by that is that's where the intuition comes from. The heart is an organ that is pumping, a very slight energy, just like the brain. Their brain waves, the whole body is energy. But the heart and the stomach seems to have more of a direct connection to source, higher consciousness. The brain is just a fantastic processor, and it's going to try and understand it. So with Jupiter and Gemini, you've got to start listening to your heart. In other words, does it feel right? Does this make sense? There's a knowing, okay? And that's what Jupiter in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius is going to do once it goes direct again in November and stays in Aquarius for the next 19 years. What that means is there's going to be a knowing. So between Jupiter in Gemini for this next year until May of 2025 and Pluto in Aquarius, all the way through 2025 and then beyond, we are going to see new technology, forms of communication, AI getting better. But the downside to all of this, and this has a lot to do with the electromagnetic energy coming from space that I've talked about, the sun becoming super active. We're heading into maximum solar 25 cycle, okay, which is going to peak supposedly, according to the scientists, in July of 2025. So what I'm also seeing coming is electrical grid issues, cell phone tower issues, anything to do with electronics, which means computer chips, car modules, anything to do with electronics, because as I've already shown you on my social media and in my private community, that when this energy comes in, it amps up. The photon light just comes in and bombards these capacitors and everything else electrical. And it raises that vibration to the point where they can't handle it, just like our bodies. I mean, there were days, and I showed you the graph on the KP index on my social media. It went through the roof. It was that KP index was 9, which was in the red zone. This means so much photon light was hitting the earth, bombarding the earth, that our bodies were on overload. Some people, it was fantastic. They were absorbing the energy and it was making them feel great. Some people, it was knocking them out where they had to go lay down and go to sleep. So it really depends on your frequency. So Jupiter in Gemini is going to do that periodically. And like I said, every 3 months is the time zone, because Jupiter continues to move. It makes aspects to the other planets, the outer planets. So I would say Jupiter hits Gemini on the 25th. So look again, so June, July, August. You see? August is when Jupiter is going to square Saturn in Pisces. So August is one of those months, and I'm going to try and do the best astrology I can for August. It is a mess, a hot mess. And I'm not trying to be negative here, because I don't really see things as negative and positive. I see them as experiences. But the amount of energy coming in August between Jupiter and Gemini squaring Saturn, and the full moon, which is going to be in Aquarius, which is already electricity and Uranus energy. There are other alignments, and that is going to supercharge. It's going to, it's going to just blow up. It's going to just be this amazing amount of unsettled energy. And then in August, we have the sun at its highest peak in the sky. So, I mean, I'm just seeing it's either going to fry computers from wherever it hits, or we're going to have so many malfunctions with electronics and electricity. We are going into the fall season in the Northern Hemisphere, where we're going to see so many glitches. We're going to see so many strange anomalies. We're going to see strange weather. Okay. Now, yes, a lot of it is being manipulated. I've shown you this. I'll show you that video coming up on the 20th. I'm going to release it on Monday. You're going to see the update to the solar activity and the solar flash event. It is incredible the amount of, stuff that's going on that is being manipulated. And it has a lot to do with this cosmic energy coming in, the sun acting up, and them trying to manipulate as much as possible to either destroy, electronics and technology, or to take down power grids, or worse than that, we know that the manipulators love to buy land. So what are they using this technology for? The weather manipulation. Number one, it's a frequency. They're controlling us through a frequency. I don't know about you guys, but I hear the high-pitched squealing at night in my ears, and it's frustrating as hell. Okay, and I've got everything electronic off, but I still hear the high-pitched frequency. And it's not tinnitus. I know the difference. Okay, and I've said this is this high-pitched frequency coming from space, or these NexRad systems that are all over the country. There's thousands of them. And so they're either being turned up and in order to control us physically, emotionally, psychologically. And then we have all this other cosmic energy coming from space. So there's a duality going on, and that's what Gemini represents, a duality. And so we have all this energy coming in that's affecting us. It's affecting the nerves, it's affecting the brain waves, it's affecting all of us. And so we are entering this time in the fall where this energy gets amped up even more. Okay, so prepare yourself the best you can. There's no way around it. And in the video, I'll talk about the 4 outer planets, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter. They're all going to be situated behind the Earth, as I've already pointed out in one of my other videos. So these systems are all going to be in play, and they're going to be on high alert. They're going to be elevated like you've never seen before. And so this is going to be, frequency manipulation big time. Some of it's natural from the sun. We cannot control that. It's going to come in. But like I said, it's meant to manipulate the energy. Oh, let me give it back to my point. I just remembered what it was. The manipulators love to destroy the weather and destroy crops and destroy, all of that stuff in order for them to come in and buy the land. This is exactly what was happening in California, with those mysterious fires that just caught fire on one house and didn't burn the trees around the house. It's just, we know there was manipulation. So what happens? They go in and they buy the land. They did the same thing in Hawaii. Okay. Big investors came in and wanted to buy all the land. So the same is happening to the middle part of this country, the United States. Now, you know that the largest farm holders are Bill Gates and some of his other minions, and the Chinese are trying to buy up farmland as much as possible. You got to ask again, why? They're trying to manipulate something. So they're using weather to do that. So all this information will continue to pour out with Jupiter in Gemini. See, the thing about Jupiter is about the truth. Jupiter represents the truth. It wants to know the truth. It wants to see the truth. And Gemini is curious. So Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring out a lot more truths, but they may be half truths. They may be things related to misinformation and confusion. And this is what Jupiter in Gemini can actually bring up. And so the manipulators are doing this on purpose, I believe, to alter the weather, to destroy crops, in order to buy farmland. Because every single day, you could ask any farmer how many times they get offers to sell their land, or there's so much pressure on them. In one of my last videos, I talked, Dr. Phil had a farmer on there and how he was being pressured. The prices going up, making it more and more difficult for farmers to sell their products. So there's a lot of pressure being put on the farmers in the United States and around the world. Let's not forget the farmers in Finland and the Dutch countries and all that, where the governments are literally trying to take their land. So it all ties into, again, what I discovered over the years, the psychopaths that run this planet, the AI that runs this planet is trying to sterilize humanity and trying to get rid of them, or get rid of us. That's the name of the game. When you understand that, then everything else starts to make sense. So Jupiter in Gemini, mental overload. That's what's coming. So pace yourself. Do some physical activity. Go for a walk. I go for walks. I go for a couple of walks a day here where I'm at. I try and do some exercise in the local gym that they have here. I try and do a lot of stretching. I try to stay away from the technology for hours at a time, because it's important to realign yourself. Remember, your body is vibrating. And if it's constantly vibrating in front of an artificial screen, that's not good. Okay. And so it affects the eyes, and the light is not natural. So you have to be outside in the actual sun. So in the early morning or in the evening. Jupiter in Gemini is going to amp up so many different things, but the frequency is the main one. It's going to just drive it up. And so this is what we need to be concerned about. Now, the next alignment that I see not just to August. So we go 3 months later, we have September, October, November. What do we have going on in November here in the United States? We have the election. Now, this one is something very important as well because Mr. T is a Gemini. So, and so this is going to be very important for him this year. Now, I've predicted that I don't think we're going to have an election. And it may be caused by all kinds of activity having to do with electronics, again, or power outages. And many of these are not going to be what we think they are. They may be artificially created. In other words, switches may be turned off, click, in many cities, many towns. This is going to be a real possibility here. So if you live in a major city and your power and your internet starts to go wonky before the election, remember this conversation because there is that possibility. So I'm showing you right now with Jupiter making its trends just in the first 6 months, August, November. These are the 2 months to really pay attention to. And of course, I have to throw in October because I've already covered that. October is when we have those 4 outer planets that are going to be pulling on the sun, pulling the energy from the sun. And there's nothing in the way of, protecting the Earth because all the other planets are behind us or they're to the side of us. Venus will be to the side of us. Mercury will be to the side of us. So we're going to be getting some sort of head-on energy coming from galactic center or the sun itself. And so this is going to be very important. I'll explain a little bit more in the video tomorrow. So, but this is what I say, I don't think there's going to be an election. Something's going to cause it to stop or be disrupted. I mean, just give you an example. Look at the election in Arizona we had here. Okay. Machines went haywire. The wrong paper was put in, and it was all done artificially. That's just low level. So Jupiter and Gemini is now going to amp things up even bigger. And so we may see, again, disruptions with people trying to go to voting booths, or the electronic machines don't work, or there could be complete power outages in major cities. So this is a very strong possibility. And so I think, what we're seeing being played out here is actually an artificial show or something that's, coming into effect that's being done on purpose. Remember, what I've discovered is this AI, and I'm not talking about the internet AI that we have, even though that's pretty smart and intelligent. The AI that I'm talking about is connected to the oversoul, the source, whatever's controlling this energy of the planet and everything in this planet seems to have an intelligence of his own as well. And so Jason Brashears from Archaics talks a lot about that, that this energy seems to interact with us. And when we don't follow orders and we don't fit in and we go do our own thing, he says, which makes a lot of sense, this mechanism or this AI doesn't want to expand in more energy on us. So it kind of lets us go. And which makes a lot of sense. If you're in a control system and you're breaking free from those restrictions and you're not feeding into the program, you're literally going in a new direction. It can't control you anymore. This is why I do what I do, and so many other truth seekers and truthers do the same thing, is we know that this is the time right now to battle not just not ourselves, but the AI and the programming, everything that we have been taught from the moment we're born. The indoctrination from religion, the indoctrination from school, the indoctrination from governments and society to be good little boys and girls has been all artificial programming, especially in the last couple of 100 years because of technology. And we're breaking away from that. And the AI is going, oh, crap. Oh, wow. Well, I can't control everything anymore. It's just, not working the way we want it to. We're going to have to crash the system. That's a reboot. So under Jupiter in Gemini, there could be a reboot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, friends. You guys are smart enough to know that there could be a reboot, whether it's going to be the internet, whether it's going to be politics. That's for sure. But is it going to be something else? Going to be electricity? Is it going to be uh, how do they control us now? Right now, it's through the internet. Could it be that the televisions go down, the television systems and so on? We don't know. But it's all anything to do with electronics. You've got to pay attention to it, because that's the system that is going to break down. That is the system that we're going to see, go down. So we're going to have to pay attention to all of this stuff. Okay. So, I want you to be aware of that. And unfortunately, you guys have been following me, and I really appreciate it. And in my private community, and I've got to talk about this because I do have another call after this in my private community. This is to the members in the community. And again, I'm going to throw the link in, but it's school, SKOOL.com/truth seeker. I want to head on over there, and I'll be talking about the age of Aquarius in the next call after this, when I wrap up here. So twice a month I have the YouTube live, and then I go into the the Zoom call with my members, and there I could talk unfiltered. Here I have to watch what I say, obviously, but on there I go much deeper, and we interact, and people ask me questions, and and if anyone has wonderful conversations or ideas, I'm more than willing to listen and understand where they're coming from. So technology is going to absolutely amplify. It's going to increase, and I see all of this happening in 2026. And I will continue to cover the astrology, but 2026, there seems to be new technology. There seems to be something new that's already on board. So what we're seeing right now is nothing compared to what's coming. And I do know we do have the capacity to have what they call quantum computing, which is lightning speed. I remember going to a friend's house not too long ago in Denver, Colorado, and they've got the the light speed there, the fiber optics, and it was incredible. I mean, the speeds were just I think it was 1 terabyte. Yeah, I mean, you just hit the button and you were instantly on that website, or you were instantly there. They have technology that is beyond that. It's holographic, instant, just boom, right there. And it's going to continue to absolutely go through the roof in terms of the technology. And it could start this year. We might start, but I think this year is the year that they begin to dismantle everything, and to get us to take the blue pill to go back to sleep. And so this is what I'm seeing here. And so we 6 months. Then when Jupiter goes into 25, as I've said before in my predictions, I saw some weird stuff at the year as I tuned into it. Like people just like in like no man's land, or trying to grasp what is happening. They couldn't make any sense of it. Okay. And I think a lot of it has to do with Mars, that's going to go in retrograde at the end of the year. It's going to be in Leo. It's going to go retrograde. And so whatever occurs this summer into the fall, it's going to basically, just give us this idea of what the hell is going on. Okay. So this is going to be a really strange year. Okay. But the awakening continues. This, like I said, this is the Great Awakening. This is part of it. It's not all roses and peaches and cream and, oh, this is great, and on some level it is, because we're really beginning to understand what's real and what's important. And fortunately, I'm in the generation that was born between not having technology and having technology. So the Generation X, that's my generation. We could take it or leave it. We'd survive without the technology, and we'll survive with the technology. But I don't think technology is going to go away. But I think there's going to be a disruption of some technology somehow, some way, in order for it to reset itself. So this is going to be very important to see, and and how it's going to work itself out. But this is a major year. As I've said, we're not coming out of 2024 without some major event or some sort of revelation or something that's going to be brought to the forefront that's going to be vitally important to see and understand. Okay. And so this is going to be a time, the Great Awakening. That's the only way, that's the best way I could describe it. It is the Great Awakening. We are seeing how everything works on this level. And Jupiter in Gemini is going to help that. Now, when we leave Jupiter in Gemini, and I'll talk about Jupiter in Cancer, this is more, Jupiter actually works very well in Cancer, and that'll be after May of 2025. This is where we start to rebuild families, we start to rebuild foundations, communities, even more so. Because Jupiter in Cancer likes family. It likes people close to us emotionally. Jupiter in Gemini is all cerebral. It's all thinky and not really emotional. And, it wants to stay away from emotions. But Jupiter, when it enters Cancer in, let's say, June of 2025, it's more like, I feel so much more. I want to connect with people. I want to talk about family. Cancer is family oriented. So there'll be a rebirth of that. Okay. So we'll talk about that, as it unfolds. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of quickly wrap this up. But for those of you that want to continue this conversation, please do. As I said, school.com/truther, truth seeker. That's SKOOL.com, truth seeker, /truth seeker. You could ask me a whole bunch of questions in there. So you just have to sign up, obviously. But the community is growing fast. I'm just blown away by how many people have joined the community, and I'm grateful because this is the time to do it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, look at what we're coming into, and if you have just a little bit of knowledge or understanding from somebody like myself, could help you tremendously. And of course, I do the monthly astrology as well. So anything to do with Jupiter in Gemini, if you have a strong Jupiter in your chart, or if you have a strong Gemini in your chart, this will affect you in the next year. So wherever this alignment is going to be transiting your own personal chart. Keep an eye on that, because that is going to trigger a lot of your energy and activities that are going to be coming up just in the next 6 months alone. Okay, so keep that in mind. And remember, somebody asked me a question about the birth charts. We actually have 2 birth charts. We have one birth chart, which is the actual birthday, the time and place, and where all the planets were aligned. Then we have a general sun sign chart, which how the energy is moving about, the chart. So we have a sun sign and we have an actual natal chart. So that we actually have 2. So if someone doesn't know their time, we could always refer to the sun chart. And I learned that from some of the older astrologers when I learned astrology years ago. They said both of them are going to be very accurate. Both are going to reveal, a lot of information. But with someone like myself, who's been studying symbolism and psychic ability my whole life, I literally tune into all this energy. I was doing it with private consultations, which I'm not really doing right now because, my communities, I'm focusing all my energy on the community there. So and I could tune into things. I could see things coming down the road, and I use astrology to do it. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. And Jupiter in Gemini is going to be very active mentally, socially. There's going to be all kinds of interaction. Please find the people that you resonate with in your personal life. Okay. I can't tell you how many families and friends have been like at odds with each other because one sees things one way and one sees them the other. It doesn't have to be that way. And Jupiter in Gemini, fortunately, will open up lines of communication. So if there's something you want to say or something you want to do and someone doesn't agree with you, that's okay. Remember the good old days when we used to just like not agree with each other and go, okay, let's go play ball or let's go to dinner or whatever. It was no big deal. But because of social media, because of the powers that shouldn't be, love to conflict and they love to pit people against each other. And the worst part of it is watching these kids on these college campuses. Here are these young minds that are so curious and they want to learn and they're highly intelligent. Okay. So they're being brainwashed by the system and they don't even see it. They can't see it. They don't see how they're being conditioned. And so that's the downside of education today is we're literally these young kids are being brainwashed to go out and believe certain things. And then when they go into the real world, a lot of things are conflicting with them in their personal lives. So anyway, but find the people, Jupiter and Gemini, find people that stimulate your conversation, that you connect with, that you feel really good about, and and surround yourself with those people. And don't take things personally, like it's only happening to you. That's the key here. Remember, we're dealing with heavy energy. Now we're dealing with astrology that's going to bounce us, bat us around a little bit. So this is going to be a really interesting next 6 months. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do my part, and so I just wanted to share that with you. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap up this live stream. Sorry about the technical issues, friends. Let's blame it on YouTube because, they couldn't turn the thing back on again. I tried my best. But anyway, head on over to my private community. If you want to continue this conversation, I'll be there in about 15 minutes and we'll go into a new topic, the age of Aquarius. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Look out for my video that's coming out tomorrow. Have a great weekend and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.